Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching Hellfest. You know when you watch a horror movie that tries so hard to be scary and so hard to be cutting edge that it just falls flat on its face? Well, Hellfest is definitely one of those. As it happens to try and subvert cliches while also following a bunch of cliches that are in the book, and it happens to feel incredibly dragged out while still only being 90 minutes long. Well, let's get to the story, shall we? The story is about a girl named Natalie who decides to go with her friends to this theme park called Hellfest. Hellfest is basically an amusement park that's sort of like Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights or Six Flags Fright Fest. You know, a horror-themed theme park where the people go to be scared. I personally never went to those since I was too much of a scaredy cat. But while everyone's boozing up, having laughs, and enjoying the attractions, one guest in particular decides to use Hellfest as a way for him to slaughter a bunch of people while being able to get away with it scot-free. So, the race is on for our heroes to find out what's real and what's just part of the show. Now, when I say that, it does sound like an intriguing concept, but in execution here, it leaves a lot to be desired. Where to start? Basically, for first, all of the main six characters act like the most obnoxious teen stereotypes that you'd expect for this kind of horror film. You have the obnoxious comic relief guy, the obnoxious comic relief girl, the nice boyfriend, the nice girl who's the lead, and the ethnic minorities to act as either fodder or just as a best friend trope. It's something we've seen in almost every horror film of this type, and they don't even try to make it seem like these characters are anything more than the character types we've seen before. I will say that they tried to do something interesting with the killer if you watch to the end, but that can either generate guffaws or just groans if depending on what mindset you have. Not only that, but the film itself does look pretty cheap. Now, I can understand why they went for cheap designs and cheap tactics when it comes to the haunted house elements, but I definitely don't think they should have done it with the parts where you're actually supposed to be scared. The whole thing in general just comes across as them taking a premise and trying almost everything they can to make it as not interesting and make it as routine as possible. It's hard to think of one moment in Hellfest where it isn't trying to be obnoxious about it either. Similar to the first Purge movie, it tries so hard to get your attention at every single little step, even in scenes where nothing of note is really going on. And you could say similar to Escape to Tomorrow, it happens to use a central gimmick, in this case a horror theme park, and runs it into the ground despite the fact that it's barely an hour and a half long, with several sequences that either go on way too long, have really bad hammy acting, or ones that just feel like a routine exercise in every horror film you've seen ever, just with a different setting, so they think it's different when really it's just routine. Like I said, it's hard to think of one thing that Hellfest doesn't screw up, other than maybe the ending stinger, which I won't spoil for you guys, but even that forces you to go through a film that's this cliched and this awkward to get to it. And if they're trying to use this to sequel bait, it's really probably not going to work. Because when I saw this film when I was checking Rotten Tomatoes, there were absolutely zero reviews for it before going into it. And whenever I see that a film's reviews aren't posted online until at least 2 or 3 days in advance, you can tell the director knows that the film is bad and they're trying to hide it as much as possible to convince people to go see it. And we got duped, to put it lightly. But in my opinion, it's sort of a fun kind of duped. It is so obnoxious and so in your face that I ended up laughing at it more often than I was legitimately terrified. Honestly, if you're looking for a so bad it's good horror movie, this could be it. But for an actual horror fans, it's not worth your time. I give Hellfest a 4 out of 10. See you next time.